celebrating Hispanic Heritage Month on WMVB News 13.
Hello and welcome to this News 13 special presentation for Hispanic Heritage. I'm Amy Diaz.
And I'm Grace Velez. Hispanic Heritage Month was established to recognize the contributions of the Hispanic and Latin Americans to our national heritage and culture. It began in 1968 when President Lyndon Johnson signed a Hispanic Heritage Week proclamation.
Then in 1988, President Ronald Reagan expanded it to the full month. Each year from September 15th to October 15th, communities across America celebrate the event. In America, buying your first home is a rite of passage, a significant milestone in your adult life. But for millions of Hispanic immigrants, it's part of el sueño americano, the American dream. We spoke to one Hispanic family who recently achieved that dream right here in the Panhandle.
That's what the parents, they always want for the kids, better place and better things for them.
Meet Leslie and Jose Aguilar.
You want to do it?
They are the new owners of a home in Chipley. They are both Mexican-American, having come to this country as teenagers.
I really always got dreams. A good thing for my kids.
They are just one example of the growing trend among the community. According to the Florida Realtors Organization, for the last decade, Hispanic Americans have been driving up the home ownership growth in America. Outpacing every other demographic, Hispanic buyers represent over 1/3 of the national increase, while making up only 15% of all U.S. households. Behind some of those sales are Hispanic real estate agents like Oscar Forrero.
I was born in Bogota, Colombia. Came to the United States when I was in my early 20s. I came to the States, resided in Miami for years, and then I decided to join the military. Boom! The American dream, el sueño americano. Mira qué bien, bonita, qué cocina linda.
He says the relationship he develops with his clients go beyond the walls of a potential.
What I find out in this business of the real estate business, it's not just about talking about a house. It's not just talking about how much is the house. Talk about just culture things, about your country, about my country, about fiesta.
And his clients agree.
He's not just a realtor, he's a good friend. He's a good friend, he's a good person.
The Aguilars say being able to speak in their native language with the person who is handling the purchase of their future home was a game changer.
With the other realtor, we was like, it was not understanding, I think. She was not understanding well what we wanted. And with him, we speak in Spanish every time. And so I think that helps well.
The way we communicate with them, that was super nice. We get a better communication in Spanish.
That communication and that culture similarities makes the deal better. And they just love to deal with somebody who is from either the same country or that speaks the same language.
For many Hispanic families, buying a home is something that may feel out of reach, but never out of sight.
Our culture is to have a house, be able to provide for a family and have a property, a house.
The Aguilars say that buying their first home together was not just giving them a roof over their heads, but setting an example for their young girls.
A lot of times, our culture trying to, your kids get the same direction you do. So you're trying to, the kids, growing up with the same culture and help each other Latinos, help us a lot because, I really wanted my kids, they be something on life.
When I asked the Aguilars what they would say to Hispanic families who have recently arrived to the U.S., they say it is still the land of opportunity and that hard work goes a long way.
Salvation Army's ability to conduct positive work in the community relies on those who dedicate their lives to helping those in need. Locally, there's one couple that's at the heart of both year-round initiatives and providing relief when disaster strikes. The Peñas started serving with the Salvation Army in Cuba. Now, more than a decade later, the Bay County community is lucky to have them.
Our job description is just to love everyone, make no distinction in between any race or language.
Desde Cuba hasta Bay County, los Peñas siempre están ayudando. From Cuba to Bay County, the Peñas are always helping, and that meant learning how to help in 2 languages.
We started working with the Salvation Army in Cuba, and when we came to the United States, we wanted to continue. serving the Lord in the Salvation Army. But that was one thing we needed to do first, and it was learning English.
They didn't just learn how to speak English, they had to be able to read and write proficiently.
It was a tough experience to learning English. We're still learning, by the way.
After learning English, they went to a training program in Atlanta for 2 years to become Salvation Army captains. Bay County will be the Peña's third appointment as captains. They say each one is unique and special in its own way.
Each appointment has its own peculiarity, like different programs in different cities.
Homelessness, hunger, disaster relief, poverty, domestic violence, holiday giving. These are just a fraction of outreach programs the Salvation Army provides. Having served as captains for over a decade, it's hard for the Peñas to pick a favorite form of outreach.
I would say we don't have a favorite one because all of them are so important. We love the domestic violence program we have here, how much we are able to help and support the victims of domestic violence and keep them safe and do everything we can for them and their families. We love the social service, how we are able to provide pantry food meals for the families that are in need.
We had the transitional housing is another aspect of the social service part of it. And yeah, as Nilka says, we don't have favorite, because we had to do everything for anyone. So one thing that we also love is Christmas season, of course, when we have our Angel Tree and Red Carol campaign.
And being bilingual means they can double their impact.
One thing that we love about being Salvation Army officers and being bilinguals is that we can reach out to everyone. And we see the need of some community members that they don't understand the English.
While it's easy to understand that everybody's upbringings and culture form who they are, for Hispanics, background plays a very distinct role. And for the Peñas, growing up in Cuba meant you understood the hardships your country and your neighbors were experiencing, and you looked for every opportunity to help others.
I think it shaped me to work as a Salvation Army officer because I can bring, and I remember those days growing up in my country where sometimes you had nothing to eat, but then your neighbor came and gave you a little bit of rice, and the other one came and gave you maybe a little piece of meat, and then you have a meal.
Viviendo en Cuba, y muchos sabemos la situación como es en Cuba, lo difícil que es, por supuesto nos ayuda a tener más compasión por la gente.
The Peñas are going to continue doing the most good, and if you get a chance to see them in action at one of Salvation Army's many initiatives, make sure you tell them gracias. One of the Hispanic community's most influential voices has been fighting for justice and human rights across America for more than 6 decades.
Her name is Dolores Huerta, and she had been leading the civil rights fight from the beginning of the movement. As Jala Washington tells us, Huerta says her activism today is similar to the same things she fought for all those years ago.
It's a simple phrase that has become a call to action at rallies, protests, and political stages across the world. You can do it. Simple words, but powerful when said together. Labor activist Dolores Huerta credited for the same.
Because Cesar Chavez was doing a 25-day water-only fast. And in Arizona, they had passed a law that farm workers, if they went on strike, they could go to jail. When I went to some of the professionals in the area to ask them to please support us, they said, no, in Arizona, you cannot do this. My response to them was, yes, we can. Sí se puede. Yes, you can. And that became a rallying cry.
That rallying cry helped lead to action, expanding the rights of farm workers, and years later, Barack Obama even tapping the slogan to fuel his presidential campaign.
Through the best of times and the darkest of hours, she knows how America can change. Yes, we can.
And when I met the president, he said, I stole your slogan.
And today, this spunky 95-year-old you see sitting here on a TV set with me for this interview arguably has just as much fire now as she did 70 years ago when she started her work as an activist.
And we want this march to reach their hearts and their consciousness.
She's the co-founder of the country's first farm workers' labor union, the United Farm Workers. And Huerta, alongside Cesar Chavez, advocated for fair wages and better working conditions for farmers. And Huerta now is widely known as an influential leader of the Chicano movement, a movement that protested inequality at all levels of society, including race, labor, and women's rights. Some of those same rights that many people feel are being threatened today. In August, Huerta joined activists at this rally at the Texas Capitol, speaking out about Texas redistricting, which she argued would be unfair to voters of color and minority communities.
How does it feel for you personally watching all of this unfold?
Well, it feels very much the same.
Much of what Huerta fought for, she believes, is a fight that is still happening today.
It was a huge struggle for people to get the right to vote to begin with. I was in a house meeting with a great organizer, Fred Ross Sr., and then he showed us, again, newspaper clippings of how people brought in clinics and they brought sidewalks, and actually sent policemen to prison for beating up young Mexican youth. And I thought, I want to belong to that organization. Anyone that can have that kind of power to stop the discrimination, then that was my aha moment.
That aha moment leading to a lifetime of activism. And no matter where anyone stands on the politics spectrum, Huerta hopes what people take away from her and her story is this.
We do not have the luxury of getting tired. Every single one of us has to become a patriot.
Huerta's first job was teaching school in rural California in 1954. She quit after 1 year and became an activist after watching her students struggle with a lack of food and clothing.
When we return, the story behind a holiday that honors loved ones who have died.
And a man whose artwork is opening doors for kids on the wrong path. That's next on Hispanic Heritage.
Celebrating Hispanic Heritage Month on WMVB News 13.
Welcome back to Hispanic Heritage. Dia de los Muertos, or Day of the Dead, is probably one of the most misunderstood holidays from Hispanic culture. It's a way for people to remember their loved ones who have died. As Marco Ramirez tells us, in some U.S. cities like San Juan, Texas, it becomes a community-wide event.
We want to reemphasize this. We're not celebrating death, we're honoring the dead.
Dia de los Muertos, or also known as Day of the Dead, has been celebrated for centuries, dating back long before the conquistadores came to Mexico. After the Spaniards colonized in the 16th century, they combined their Christian celebrations with the indigenous cultures already in place, and it grew into the vibrant and colorful festivity known today. The epicenter of that colorful tradition is the ofrenda that honors those who have died. Father Jorge Gomez with the Basilica of San Juan says the ofrenda is a place for families to memorialize their loved ones in different ways. They often adorn it with their loved one's favorite food, beverages, and special items. And the Basilica will provide that space for people across South Texas.
We're going to have a big ofrenda here at the Basilica. So if you can bring pictures and a blanket so you can put your pictures and any way you want to decorate it with flowers. Sometimes they bring pan dulce and the food they used to like, or their favorite musical instrument, so you name it.
While remembering those who have died can be a somber and difficult moment, Father Gomez says honoring the dead can also bring peace in a time of need.
As long as we remember them, we pray for them. And then when we pray for the dead, we are at the same time asking them for those who are in heaven to pray for us, and we help each other with our prayers.
The ofrenda at the Basilica is just one part of a bigger celebration during Dia de los Muertos. While this is only the second year the festival will be held in San Juan, the mission is to carry on the traditions and celebrate life for years to come.
Culture is the way we express who we are, so having this rooted in our hearts and in our lives, we can teach the next generation the importance of praying for those who have died, praying for those who are still alive.
Dia de los Muertos, or Day of the Dead, is observed each year on November 1st and 2nd.
A Denver artist is making an impact to help give troubled kids a fresh perspective. His name is Jolt, and he is a lifelong artist and the creator of Guerrera Garden. Through Guerrera Garden, Jolt visits jails, works with incarcerated youth, and shows them how art can be a positive way to give back to their communities.
Using artwork for good is important. I think that art can be a tool, right? Art can be a tool. Art can be a weapon to fight revolutions. Art can be a tool for education. Art can also create destruction. Art can manipulate people. My name is Jolt of the Guerrera Garden Studios. I did art since I was a little kid, in my whole life. My father was an artist. My grandmother was an art teacher for Denver Public Schools for 24 years. I've been a professional artist since I was 19 years old. So this is all I've done. I try to share this thing because it saved my life. It really did. A lot of the friends and family from my neighborhood, a lot of these guys aren't around. A lot of them went different paths. And for me, this art, it kept me on the right path. It really did. So at 19 years old, I was already getting paid to do art. So some examples would be, I work with incarcerated youth, and I go into the jails and I create art. And we get the kids day passes to leave, and we create murals in the communities where they caught their case. And this is an opportunity for them to give back in a positive way, to feel like they're a part of the community. There's these simple things with art that translate to the bigger picture, and it's if you mess up, you can fix it. Step back, look at the bigger picture. Take into account everybody involved in creating this picture. Those three things just in life. If you mess up, you can fix it. It's okay, it's not too late.
Art has been a part of Jolt's life since he was a child. His father was an artist and his grandmother was an art teacher in Denver's public schools.
When we continue the story of men and boys who overcame discrimination to pursue their dreams of playing baseball, you'll see how they're being remembered.
And it's the biggest day in the young lives of Latina girls, the tradition behind the quinceañera on Hispanic Heritage.
Celebrating Hispanic Heritage Month on WMVB News 13.
These days, it might be difficult for some to imagine there used to be laws that kept people of different races separated. But segregation was not something that only happened in the South. In many parts of the country's Latinos were kept from enjoying some of the simplest things in life because of their race. As Vicente Arenas tells us, some sugar beet farm workers in Colorado are being remembered for overcoming discrimination to do what they loved.
In the heart of Fort Collins, you'll find a nearly perfectly manicured baseball field in the city park here. People from all walks of life play here, but it has not always been this way. This rare film from the 1930s shows a team of only Hispanic players. John Moore's father played third base.
My dad was a great ball player. As a little boy, I remember him coming home with his ankles cleated up because they played for real.
Family members tell us the players were Latinos who formed their own league since they were not allowed to play with white teams. Sam Vigil also played before he went to fight in World War II.
Right here was my dad.
We spoke to his daughter, Cindy Vigil Valdez, at the field where her dad once played.
Well, it just makes me very sad. My grandkids play baseball, and to think that back in the day they wouldn't have been able to play, and it's just sad that's the way it was, but that's the way it was.
Many of the games were played after the men worked long, hot days in the sugar beet fields, which played a big role in Fort Collins' economic history. Baseball provided a break from those rigorous days and racial struggles. That strife is now part of a story called From Sugar to Diamonds, originally written by Gabriel and Jody Lopez.
There were signs in downtown Fort Collins that said white trade only, no dogs, no Mexicans. So with a lot of the discrimination, whites wouldn't play with the Mexicans and the Hispanics.
Still, the league would thrive with teams like the Merchants, Rebels, Spanish Americans, and the Legionnaires.
Many of the people we talk to say they're glad the field is still here. There are nice fences and dugouts and green grass, but back in the day we're told that cars would just line up on both sides and they'd honk their horns whenever there was a great play.
None of this was like this. It was all dirt, and people would line up their cars, and I mean, they'd have 300 people from the community come out to watch them play. Put that one there, and you can take this out.
Betty Aragon Mitotes heads an organization called Mujeres de Colores, Ladies of Color. The organization is behind a new exhibit calling attention to Latino sports teams that she says broke barriers.
This is so important because it's about preserving our history, making sure that we leave a legacy for those baseball players that came in the early days, that came out of the beat fields.
There's also a move to have a life-size statue placed at the park.
It's about giving them honor. It's about preserving our history of our place in history here in Fort Collins and the contributions that they made.
Vigil's father came home from World War II with the Purple Heart and bought uniforms for the Legionnaires. His son was a bat boy. Cindy is one of many so glad a move is underway to remember this part of baseball history.
It just makes me sad, and in my heart it does. And I would like my dad and all these other players to get some recognition of what happened. And people should know they're not forgotten, and the legacy lives on.
Aragon Mitotes says the hope is memories are not washed away as seasons change at this field. Quiet on this day, but filled with colorful Fort Collins history, many are hoping will not be forgotten.
There's also a film entitled Sugar to Diamonds that's in the process of being made.
It's a celebration filled with music, dancing, and traditions. But behind the glitz and glamour, a quinceañera carries deep cultural and personal meaning. As Alexia Serrata tells us, this milestone event is extremely significant to many Hispanic families.
The word quinceañera, meaning 15-year-old girl in Spanish, is more than just a birthday celebration. It symbolizes a young girl's transition from girlhood to womanhood. For many Hispanic families, it's a time to gather those closest to you and show respect for culture, faith, and growth. Rooted in Latin American tradition, the quinceañera dates back to the 16th century, when ancient tribes held an initiation ceremony to celebrate the new era of a young girl and present them as prospective wives as well. Nowadays, a quinceañera celebration is easily adapted to fit any girl's lifestyle and personality. The celebration typically includes a mix of religious ceremony, a festive party with performances, and many symbolic moments. Some traditions incorporated into the event include a father-daughter dance, changing from a sneaker to a heel, and the presentation of the last doll. Quinceañera coordinator Vanessa Martinez says this celebration requires a team effort.
You need at least 8 to 10 vendors just to put it together, because not one vendor can do it all. And so the price point for a quinceañera that I've seen is in the thousands. That's why you want to plan 2 years in advance. And again, being Hispanic, being Latina, families want to get together. And if you give them time in advance, they will be able to pitch in, and they look forward to pitching in.
Preparations can take years. From booking the venue and vendors to finding the perfect dress, Cynthia Garza, mother of the future quinceañera, says she's already started planning her daughter's celebration, even though it's 2 years away.
I decided to start preparing ahead of time because times have changed, things are expensive, and I don't want to feel the stress of having to plan a party in such a short amount of time. I actually went to the venue and I was surprised that there's families that have already booked the venue for like 2027.
Garza says she grew up attending quinceañeras and even had one of her own. She shares that it's special to see the tradition being passed down as her daughter is now following in her footsteps. Suri Hernandez looks forward to celebrating her own special day.
I wanted a quinceañera because my mom had one and it just inspired me to want to have one. I like that you get to have fun and enjoy that moment with your family and friends.
With dazzling dresses, emotional traditions, and years of planning, a quinceañera is a day when families of Hispanic heritage come together to celebrate a milestone and bring a dream to life.
A small do-it-yourself quinceañera party can cost under $3,000. The average celebration goes anywhere from $5,000 to as much as $50,000.
Thanks for celebrating Hispanic heritage. We hope you've learned something about the Hispanic and Latino cultures, not just here in the Panhandle, but across America.
At the very least, we hope these stories will motivate you to learn more on your own. At best, we hope this program will encourage and promote cultural diversity and unity in our communities. Thanks for joining us.